The Depth to Delve Deep by Rote Writer. Chapter 55 Stonehenge. On the road to Stonehenge, Rote walks while his mind finds words to stir his soul. He sees each he sees Stonehenge as a cosmic clock and calendar. Each standing sarsen stone is positioned to tell the date and time by the sun and moon's light and shadow. Come spring, summer, winter, or fall, it tells it all. Rote's determined to see it all inside the sacred circle of Stonehenge that has for years been cordoned off from visitors during visiting hours. He walks up the road from Old Sarum, standing like a lookout above Salisbury. It's still early enough in the evening to allow him an hour or so of light before night falls. He heads into the direction desired. The road he ambles along is like all roads in the UK and Ireland he's travelled, narrow, barely enough room for two oncoming vehicles to pass, let alone two lorries. He continues cautiously. He has to sometimes jump into the ditch to avoid being sideswept, knowing they have no room to swerve when passing. He doesn't even know what side to walk on, still not comfortable with the direction they drive. His mind is so set, just like the sun sets in the west and rises in the east. He now feels like he's living in a world where the sun sets in the east and rises in the west. No matter how the world turns, he's still on it when he comes to a gas station, well into his walk. The journey begins with only one bottle of water, and having finished that an hour or so ago, he perceives this place of petrol as an oasis. It seems closed or just closing, so he knocks on the door, seeing someone inside tallying the till. The door opens with the fellow telling the traveler the till is closed, and if he wants something, you need the exact change. The only change or currency Rote has is exactly enough to buy one chocolate bar. He asks for the key to the washroom just outside the building. The petrol manager asks him to make sure and lock the bathroom door behind him, for he's already done his rounds and is in too much of a rush to check everything again. After Rote finishes filling up his water bottle, he leaves the bathroom door slightly ajar, sensing oases may be far and few between. He does so knowingly there are likely no streams, lakes, or access to water along the way. He figures he'll be thirsty upon his return the following morning. After returning the key, the seer says, "Thank you." He carries on along the narrow and often dangerous road to Stonehenge. The sun is in its early stages of setting when a car comes from the opposite direction. It stops suddenly and backs up to a stunned Rote. The driver, after rolling down the window, asks him where he's headed. Stonehenge. The car does a U-turn to where he stands. Rote's offered a ride right out of the blue to his destination. It's appreciably accepted. The young couple commandeering the car are in their early 20s. They've just spent the weekend at a spiritual gathering somewhere. It's obvious their time there has been enhanced with the drug ecstasy. Rote can tell the driver is still feeling the effects of the drug, for his friendliness is euphoric, almost utopian. They marvel when they hear Rote's plan for the evening. The two have lived in the Salisbury Plain area all their lives, and even as adventurous as they are, and the people the couple know are, to date they've never heard of someone so determined to walk the 20 or so miles through the night to get to Stonehenge. And if that's not enough, he plans to jump over the fence and sneak by the 24-hour guards guarding the ancient shrine from the likes of Rote. An incidental not counted on, though Rote could not count on getting a ride there either. So the balance is there always. The sun is starting to set as they pull down the road passing close to Stonehenge. As they slow, the megalithic monument looms larger than life and leaves Rote in awe. He's for so long, presumably like most people have, developed a generalized idea of Stonehenge from pictures and such. However, the surreal nature of seeing it firsthand changes the image imprinted in his mind. It appears smaller than envisioned, kind of like looking into a vehicle's rear view mirror. He never loses eye contact with the megalith as the car slowly passes by the heel stone. It's a stone separated from the sensational stone circle, standing alone very close to the fence. They continue maybe a few hundred yards down a road that rudely runs along through Stonehenge, before turning down a dirt road running perpendicular to the main one. Both roads follow the line of the fence enclosing the many acres around Stonehenge, just not equally around. With the fabulous formation fading in the distance, the car stops just behind a tiny sign on a stick stuck in the ground near a fence denoting a brief history of Salisbury Plain. Not only does the fence surround Stonehenge, but also a British military base surrounds the entire area. It's only known or shown in direction by his new friends, for he can't see anything in the distance along the ridge circling the plain. Out of the car, the couple comfort reconnoitre Rote. They'll wait for him to complete his mission. The two are as excited for him as he is for himself for daring such an undertaking. The sun is just about to set. The sneaky scout wants to make sure dusk settles in before hopping over the fence in his black cap, dark coat, and black pants. He stuffs the bottom portion of his pants into his socks. He lets his two new friends imagine he's about to shapeshift, similar to a shaman, or something like that, into a black cat, stealthily approaching prey. On the other side, the shapeshifter begins his trek on his hands and knees. He works his way to the megalith that's still out of sight. It's quite some distance. He's not daunted by the jaunt that lies before him as he moves forward through a field of grass and stone. The terrain after each forward movement leaves a pocked imprint on his hands and knees. He tilts his head back to see if he can see if he can see the sentient stone structure rise through the dusk of the night. The distance is still too great for the grandeur of the sight to be seen. He eventually, with the pace and the pain, he changes his forward movement from hands and knees to hands and toes, bending his back and butt into the air. It helps him move forward a lot more quickly and less painfully. The next time he looks up, he sees the rise of the giant sarsen stones surrounding the structure, standing in the midst of the plain. He also sees a light bobbing in the distance, perhaps equal distance from the megalith and from where he is, just near to the adjacent fence next to the heelstone, maybe 20 yards from Stonehenge itself. He continues even more determined to evade security guards or guards. To evade the security guard or guards. He's not sure how many there are, though he only sees one flashlight bobbing in the distance. He comes to the cordon off rope fence circling the structure, preventing tourists from entering the sacred shrine. It's done to prevent touching and milling about, sullying it with graffiti and such. Still on his fingertips and toes, he rolls underneath the rope railing and, like a centipede, crosses over the circular path. He rolls underneath the second rope railed knee-high on the other side to be inside the shadow of Stonehenge, and it's daunting to me. The flashlight bobs. He can hear hurried footsteps coming in his direction. Not wanting to be caught, Rote quickly gets up and makes a dash to the closest standing stone trio, topped with a lopped lintel, a heavy horizontal flat stone. Quickly he wedges himself in between two of the three standing stones as the bobbing light flashes by. After hearing the hurried footsteps stop and sensing the guard's dogged determination to detect, Rote anticipates the track of light before it reaches him again. He slips through the outer rim of stones and is back on his hands and knees towards the center of the circle. There amidst a smaller inner gathering of blue stones. The light again bobs through the spaces between the outer circle of the giant sarsen stones standing on guard. The light is above Rote's lowered position and nearness to the inner sanctum of the dwarfed blue stones. Rote reaches the lichen-covered stone slab lying in the center of the sacred site on his hands and knees. Then, with his two hands underneath the altar table, he grabs two handfuls of tiny stones gravelled below, filling his two black back pant pockets. He takes a brief moment, savoring the scene and scenario he's in. It's an extremely exhilarating environment to be in. After the brief moment in time when all becomes one and one becomes all, he quickly gets up and makes like a man on the run to the outer circle. There he wedges his form again between two sentient stone sentinels. His position now is a little more than 90 degrees from where he enters the structure. He's directly across from the heelstone fence and main road. He wastes no time hoofing it to the heelstone, shimmying in between the solitary stone and the fence and then up and over. Quest completed. Rote walks along the path bisecting the road and barrier, tilting his cap as he passes by a heavily breathing guard on the opposite side of the fence. He feels fantastic. All his mischievous moments in youth have been magnified tenfold by the success of the quest. Past the corner of the fence, he turns down the dirt road and walks up a ways to where his newfound friends stand amazed and in awe. They think surely he's been caught after seeing from a distance the bobbing flashlight, followed by the frantic motion. He gives them each a stone from his two handfuls collected. He thanks them profusely for waiting on him. He's overflowing with his own experience, so much so he evaporates their ecstasy high with his natural one. Back in the car, they drive back to the pub across the road from Old Sarah. With cheer, a beer is bought. Emails are exchanged before they part. Rote lets them know where he's headed. They know